How profitable would you say the hotel industry is in Rwanda?
Well, firstly, thanking you for the invitation. Let me warn you that, indeed, as you put it, I know energy and climate change. So I'm coming in as an actor, but not as a professional in the industry. So I'll only talk about my experiences.
Right.
There is growth, slow but steady, I may say. So we're climbing up with difficulties, but steady. You can observe the growth. The demand increases, though with some of the challenges I'm going to talk about later on, but you can see remarkable growth, certainly.
Right. But we did see in 2011 there, of course, 2014 actually, the Rwanda Development Board rolling out the MICE, which is Meetings, Incentives, Conferences and Exhibition Strategy, which they're currently running on as up to date. As someone that was part of the cabinet, you know, looking back, how do you see this success, the apparent success today? What could you attribute it to?
Mike, let me tell you a story. So 10 years ago, here, that time, there happened an event, one of the biggest events that time. That's an event that attracted about 600 guests.
10 years ago, we're looking at 2009.
2009, 2007, maybe 12 years ago, something like that, 2007. That was 2007, when you had a conference called Connect Africa. It was about IT. That time I happened to be involved in the sector. So we had about 600 guests. So big at the time.
At the time, yeah.
But you know what? It took us time and efforts to get the rooms. We had to go down to the little guest houses and try to kind of help the owners to make beds, to advise them to buy bed sheets, good pillows, because there was no rooms at all that time. I'm talking about 600 guests. So because I think the offer that time was probably less than 400 rooms. And Serena, that time, Intercontinental Hotel had already entered the market. That was the situation. Today, we're talking about 8,000, close to 8,000 rooms. So 12 years only. So leapfrogging, moving very fast. Obviously, that has its own issues again. I'm going to talk about it. But you can see this tremendous leapfrogging and jumping. So that demonstrating what is happening in the sector. And indeed, as you here, I was informed by RDP, for example, that's 2018 revenues, the MICE and leisure subsector generated something like close to
52 actually $million was fetched in just 7 months.
Right. So total annual was less than slightly about 400 million. And the projections, I'm told, by 2024, they're looking at 800 million. Now, obviously, hotel industry, hospitality industry will be part of that.
Right.
Yes, so correspondingly, we must be part of that growth. So comparatively, when you look at what is happening between then, now, and 12 years, it's a tremendous and remarkable progress.
Right, but I want to get this from you. As someone who is an international consultant, I do have a strong feeling that you travel way too often and you've been to different markets where we're looking at the industry, you know, at least its highest peak. Where does Rwanda stand in terms of competitiveness with at least where you've been before?
Yes, indeed. I do travel and often I stay in hotels. And every time I enter the hotel, I'll ask a question about the occupancy rate, for example. So about rooms. And I'll go beyond that and try to ask what is happening. So the occupancy rate is 85%. It's like, wait a minute, so is there a big conference here? And say, no, maybe there is, we don't know. People are coming, people are coming in like you are coming in. And then you go beyond asking, what is attracting this kind of occupancy? So 3 things I try to observe from my experience. There's the strategy, the competition, and then the competitiveness. So the strategy, for example, the government and the RDB are focusing on promoting and investing in leisure and leisure and MICE,
right,
which is really moving on pretty fast. That is a strategy focus, so as opposed to probably just open mass tourism, right? So, and we happen to be part of that, benefiting from that kind of strategy. So that's the broader strategy that tries to promote the subsector, including the hotels and related services. So when it comes to the competition, for example, the tourists coming over here, be it trade, be it leisure, be it MICE, for example, then competition comes in like which destination? Do you go to Kigali or you go to Nairobi? Or you go to Kampala? Or you go to Lusaka, for that matter? So why should they come to Kigali? So there must be, yes.
And that actually brings me to my next question. We've seen the government investing a lot of money into the marketing strategies there. Recent kicked off the Arsenal partnership visit Rwanda. A lot of money is going on to that. We are estimating about 30 million pounds. Okay, that is not an official figure, but we're estimating it according to other clubs what they actually make. What do you think currently should be paid more attention to as someone that is an actor in this particular industry to lure even more leisure travelers and business travelers to come into Kigali? What should be given keen focus?
Well, see, there are, basic and common practices, for example, quality service, for example, effective services, quality infrastructure, which is basic in the entire industry. But also now special focus that makes us a niche to visit, for example, the Visit Rwanda, for example, a very, very good innovation. But also, for example, when I try to look what we try to do, for example, to do more in the hotel, for example, we try, for example, place a desk or two of the made in Rwanda kind of products and services and have somebody who is knowledgeable to be able to talk about that. You understand? So as hosting guests, for example, once in a while, or quite often, try to bring in, for example, traditional dancers, musicians, storytellers that will inform the guests what is it, which is not happening everywhere where there is a competition. When you go to Dubai, hotels are full, and there is not necessarily something like that, anything like that. So we need to keep coming up with innovative ideas to offer something that is not offered elsewhere. So that can happen through all these cumulative initiatives that the government, RDB, is coming up with. Made in Rwanda, for example, Visit Rwanda, why Visit Rwanda, for example, come up with what we have special that is not offered elsewhere, from the food to the culture, to the songs, to the music, to everything, so that people see it differently.
What are we seeing as the anchor for investments in the Rwanda hotel space? And that will be my last one. Where are we seeing the investors looking at with Rwanda's hotel space currently?
Well, tough one. Yeah, tough one. So, look, first of all, look at the economic growth, the trend of the economic growth. And that goes with that. So you have political and economic stability, that offers kind of confidence to the guests. So that attracts investment. Okay, could be hospitality, could be anything else. But of course, with the economic growth being registered, definitely services and consuming also increases accordingly. And that requires services in terms of rooms and other products and services requirement. So overall, it's hard to say, like, focus on here for that. I think overall it's coming up with all these innovative ideas, trying to promote what we have that others may not have.